these creatures?
How do you catch them?
You beat them
Oh.
until they have low health,
Oh.
and then you throw a ball at them.
Oh. So Palworld isn't in the wrong. You know what's crazy is that you think that they're not ripping Pokemon off, and you've never played Pokemon.
Have you played Pokemon?
I haven't, but I've watched the show. I watched the show.
So legitimately, as he was describing this, I was just imagining like when I first picked Charmander, and then as I'm traveling, battling to get my first little Pidgey, and then catching it with a Pokeball, and then going to gyms on my Nintendo Game Boy to fight. Dude, you described Pokemon.
You basically described Pokemon. I'm being honest. Like the entire description that you gave was basically Pokemon. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Only Lawsuits podcast. We've had another little delay on filming this episode because unfortunately we've been very, very busy again with the firm and the media company. But we have a cool guest, one of our new interns, our boy Audie. What's going on, man?
Yo.
Full disclosure, he didn't really have to fight much for the job. He's kind of related to us.
Audie's family.
Hey, don't
Audie is
take this credit
family.
away from me.
Yeah, I don't want to discredit him, but let me tell you about Audie.
Oh God.
This is how you know he didn't have to fight for the job. Told him to come into work the first time. He proceeded to come to a law firm job in sweatpants and a t-shirt.
All right, but to be fair, there was no dress code set.
I mean, yeah, there is no dress code set, and I don't dress in a suit.
But that just goes to
fucking place.
But that just goes to show you how comfortable you were in knowing that, hey, like this is mine if I want it. That you came in sweats and a t-shirt. You're like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Like I already work here.
Really just whipped it out, put it on the table in front of me, and I was pretty intimidated. I'm not gonna lie. No, needless to say, now he has to wear. He's probably the only person with a dress code.
Is that my punishment?
We'll see. No. I mean, honestly, it's just Audie's been great. He's been helping a lot. And Audie, you're still in high school. Obviously, you're about to start school up. So we're not going to have him around as much. But obviously, let's get a little bit about how do you enjoy working at the law firm and dealing with the shenanigans we've got here?
Honestly, it's great. Compared to my last job, especially since I used to work at a restaurant and it was family owned and I was basically running it. That was a lot on my plate, especially with doing school. But now here, it's a little bit more relaxed. Although there are deadlines I have to meet, obviously, and I meet them. But there's definitely more, wiggle room and a lot more like of a chillax vibe here.
Well, so one of the big things is and this is something that I've noticed, growing up, and Josh, you as well, you can probably relate. We've gone through high school, we've gone through college, we understand that transition and your mental state, and how to handle work as an adult. The one thing I've seen, especially the trend for younger people, from my observations, it seems like they don't have the understanding of that transition like we did. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, because I've noticed a huge difference in you prior to working here versus after working here. Audie used to come over to the house and him and, my son Caden would go and play basketball and stuff like that. And it was like they were giggling and happy. And now it's like he's working. And, I feel like he looks like he goes home and he says, "Oh, I'm tired. My back hurts." Like, I feel like he just looks more stressed out. And it honestly makes me kind of happy.
The transition from happiness to misery.
Welcome to adulthood, baby.
I can definitely attest to that. I mean, Mike and I, we grew up together. Mike has always been the consummate entrepreneur and hustler. I have very fond memories of us hustling at junkyards.
Hell yeah.
Picking up scrap metal. And I do agree. I think like when we were in high school, there was more of like a hustle mindset. I think like based off of our families, because like they were, you know, first generation immigrants, or like, you know, coming from like a West Indian background.
Yeah.
They really cemented the work ethic, you know, in us.
Oh, yeah.
And I think like our nieces, our nephews, you know, our kids, I don't think they realize how good they have it.
Oh no. I mean, I think, but I think it's also a cultural thing, right? So like, that's one thing I wanted to ask you is, how do you feel now that you've kind of, you're an adult, like you're working, you're 18 years old, you're working, you're doing college classes and high school classes, right? You know, how do you feel? What does that make you feel like?
Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of surreal in a way. Like, I don't know how to feel about it just yet. We'll see when the school year actually starts, which is this next Monday coming up. But right now, I don't really think much has changed. I have obviously more responsibility since I turned 18. But I feel like my parents have done a good job trying to already put responsibilities on me, preparing me for things like this. So as of right now, nothing has really changed that much. But when school starts, that's when I'll really be able to tell.
Yeah, and you know, to touch on that, Adi's always been a pretty good kid. He's never had any issues with him. You know, and his parents, you know, are pretty tough on him, and he's always been really good. When we moved into the new house, Adi was helping us like every single day. And I felt bad for him. Dude, it was, I felt bad for him, but I was like, nah, that shit,
I mean, you repaid me, so.
Yeah, so his payment was I got him scuba certified, and
that's a damn good payment, Adi.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a lot of perks dealing with. He got scuba certification. I bought all the scuba gear for everyone to use at all times. So these kids, I think we're going to try to go diving, I think, tomorrow. So it's like, you know, ultimately, I just want, you know, them to have fun and enjoy themselves and experience things that I didn't get to experience. So it's really important to me to pass these things on to kids like him, because ultimately, same thing with Caden, Atticus, all the kids, you know, I want to encourage them to do more than I was able to do when I was that age. You know what I'm saying?
Work hard and play hard.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, his brother, Truman, is the one helping to produce our podcast now as well. He's been a great asset to us too. So it's kind of like the quintessential family environment.
Yeah, we just keep hiring people that, you know, are related to us.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say it, but Trump's deported all the good people. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
We got no more cheap labor now. We did not hire illegal immigrants. We always hire U.S. citizens. Wink, wink. You know, I'm just kidding. Tremont, you're a citizen, right?
Yes. As far as we know.
As far as we know. First thing, you know, I wanted to kind of talk about and, you know, keep things kind of lighthearted, obviously, is with school starting, we've got, you know, the whole back to school posts that we're about to see online, right? And so, you know, what I think it's hilarious when you see people post their kids back to school photos and like the kids are holding signs and they're like semi-miserable, and you just can go back throughout the years and watch them become more and more miserable. So, Adi, are you going to post a back to school?
I'm debating it. I don't know. As of right now, honestly.
You know, honestly, he was probably going to, but after you ragged on it, you're making him second guess it. I see his face.
I'm gonna tell his mom to do it just so
he was planning. Audie was already planning to do a back to school post, and now that you ragged on it, he was like, you know, I was thinking about doing it.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna find it and I'll just like tag it in all the emails to him and say, hey, back to school. That'll be his email signature.
But Audie, are you gonna do a back to school post? That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Commit to it, brother. Yeah. Commit to it.
Yeah. You don't let anyone steer you wrong, buddy. Don't let anyone impact your decisions.
But you know what?
You live your life, man. Even though I'm going to make fun of you like crazy, live your life.
One question that I want to ask you, though, Audie, is that, you're a senior now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you now being a senior in high school, how do you think your education experience has been in high school over the last 4 years? And, give us your perspective on what it's like transitioning into adulthood.
High school was great and all, but more so for the fun of it. I don't feel like it really prepared me for anything, to be honest. Like the dual enrollment, I had to really fight to get dual enrollment, which I feel like is a great option for kids that are trying to go to college because it makes college cheaper for them and it gets them early college credits, and they could even graduate early if they do it right, or earlier than they normally would.
Yeah.
But the counselors lose money if you do that. So they tend to try to stop kids from doing it, which is messed up. And kids that really want to do it have to actually fight for it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I mean, I think it's weird. I've heard a lot of stories more recently about more high school kids doing dual enrollment now than when I went to college or when I went to high school. Like, I think when we went to high school in 2006, I don't remember even, I think they had, what was it called? Like advanced placement or something,
Advanced placement, yeah.
where you got college credits for high school classes, but like, I don't think there was ever like a dual enrollment where you can go to an actual college, So I think I agree with you. I think that experience is really important, especially for people that want to transition to college, because college is college is a big change from high school. I remember going into undergrad at Valencia and then UCF, when I went into college, it was kind of like, I knew I had to do a little bit more work, but still I was able to like kind of bullshit my way through and be fine. The only thing that really kicked my ass was law school. Law school was like, okay, this is business, but I still, even being an educated person going into college, I felt like had I been exposed to it earlier, I would have been way more successful in college, and I would have taken it a little bit more serious. So, in your opinion though, Adi, with like other classmates in high school, how do you see them approaching like school and education versus, continued education? Like, do kids in high school take this shit serious anymore? Like, what? All I see online is people joking around and posting, TikTok videos and shit.
Yeah. To be honest, high school is easy. Like, there's nothing to really take serious about high school unless you do the proper steps. Like, if you take AP classes, then it gets a little bit more serious. But anything below that, not really. At least for my school. I don't know how it is anywhere else, but at least in Seminole County, that's
so
how it is.
basically, I would have been a dumbass.
Yeah.
I never took AP classes. I was one of those C's get degrees type of people, where I was just like, all right, I'm going to take lunch. That's a good class.
I mean, you know how much school I skipped. So high school.
Here, you want to hear a funny story about me and Josh in school?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So Josh and I used to drive to school, and this is the funniest shit ever. So I played football in high school, and we had, we knew all the coaches, and one of the coaches was a counselor. So me and Josh, we're like, all right, we're going to skip school. Keep in mind, this is our senior year.
Yes.
Like, I only had like 2 classes. So I had really good GPA. I was good. I didn't need to go to school. Like, I only had 2 classes to go to school for. So I was like, I'm skipping class. And Josh was like, all right, I'm going to go with you. So I was like, all right, well, I have early release, meaning I could leave school early. But Josh didn't. Josh had to stay in school. So Josh, I was like, yo, just get in the trunk. They never stopped me. Turns out that day they fucking stopped me. So all I remember was Josh getting in the trunk, and I was going to, we had already planned it out. We were going to stop. I was going to go through the checkpoint, and then he was going to get out. So I remember them being like, hey, pop the trunk. And I was like,
yeah, that's what I was saying when I heard them tell you that. I was like, fuck.
So all I remember is Josh I looked in the rearview mirror and I see Josh getting out of the truck. And then we had to park and go to the office. and they were like, we were supposed to get in trouble and get suspended or some shit. And then the coach was like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? I was like, I put Josh in my trunk. And Josh was I think Josh played football too at some point in high school. So the coach knew him well.
It was Coach
as well.
Vasquez.
Yeah. And he was just like, all right, you two are idiots. Just get out of here. And we didn't get in trouble. We didn't get in trouble at all.
Yeah.
I still think we skipped too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So you guys had checkpoints to leave school?
Yeah. I mean, like literally at the beginning of the gate of the school, there was a security guard and they were like, I think that's a bare bones safety for school.
Well, no, we have security guards whenever we leave, but we don't have like checkpoints to actually drive out the parking lot.
Well, you have to drive by the security gate.
You have to drive by the security gate.
We don't have to do that. Like whenever we leave the doors of school, and they don't question you, by the way, you can just walk out. As soon as you leave those school doors, you're free.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was not
What?
I was not a great high school student. I skipped a lot of school.
Not with me. Well, sometimes with me.
Sometimes with Mike, but even before my senior year, the way around them not like checking your attendance was checking in to your first period class. So every morning I would wake up, I'd go into my first period class, I'd check in, and then I'd leave school for the rest of the day. Because remember, at the time, East Campus, you had that apartment complex right behind University's East Campus.
Yeah.
So I would literally check into my first period class, and then we'd run up the hill and skip school. And Miguel, Marshmallow, you remember Steven? Yeah, skipping with those dudes. What crazy memories, man.
I mean, and all things considered, look, skipping school is not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. I was a juvenile delinquent.
We don't
we don't condone
people to
it.
skip school. But
I got into a lot of
used
trouble.
to tell my parents I was skipping, and my parents were cool with it because knowing that I was going to be a lawyer, I had already knew the parameters of what I can do. In Orange County, I knew I could miss X amount of days within X amount of time, and they wouldn't call the state on my parents. And my parents were like, all right, you're cool with that. Yeah, I'm not dumb.
I mean, yeah, no, I don't want to incriminate myself, so I won't say I skipped, but I know the limits to how many days I have to be in school.
Yeah, exactly. And look, to be fair, I use that knowledge throughout my entire college career too. I always used to look at my, what do they call the things that you get in the beginning of the year? Syllabus? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the class
God,
syllabus.
I don't
Yeah.
even remember that shit.
Yeah, so
But when you get the syllabus and it says you can miss 5 classes, I would strategically plan out my misses just so I can just kind of relax. So, I mean, high school, I loved high school because high school was really fun. But I feel like it also didn't prepare me for college.
It definitely didn't, and it's a good this is a good question for you, Audie. With you now being a senior, how has your high school experience shaped what you want to do now after you graduate? Because statistically speaking, the most influential career path that kids your age want to pursue
is OnlyFans.
It's basically OnlyFans or being an influencer, right? Like people straight out of high school now, or kids straight out of high school, being a doctor, a nurse, an engineer. Those fields are so far down the list, and number one by far is like kids your age wanting to leave high school and pursue a career being an influencer. So how have you seen, what's your experience been, in choosing like your current career path?
For me, it's a little different because ever since I was a little kid in elementary school, I always knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an electrical engineer. Well, it first started engineering, and then I went into more specific. I decided electrical engineering. But a lot of kids at my high school, after they leave, they're either going to do trade school or just try to do something. Not a lot of people are actually going to college.
That's crazy. Because, and I think it goes to show, Like we've successfully witnessed a social transformation where you had back when we were in school, it was you got to go to college, you got to go to college, you got to go to college. Now I feel like the trades are more are being pushed more on people.
Yeah.
So I mean that's interesting. That's really interesting. So because look, like frankly, like I want my kids to go to college. I want them to. Mainly because I want them to be lawyers, and it's mainly because, look, if I'm building a business, I want to be able to hand it off to my children. And the only way I can hand a law firm off to them is by them being lawyers. So naturally, they have to do that. But I'll be honest with you, you don't need to. I work with a lot of people and as clients, and I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money that aren't lawyers, that aren't doctors. Ultimately, they have to come to a lawyer for a lot of shit. So we make a shit ton of money off of them. But at the end of the day, you don't need to go to school to be successful. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, but
for certain degrees, certain things.
But I think some people blow that out of proportion. Like, people think that you can instantly leave high school and then you just start up like an Instagram or something like that, or like a detailing company or something like that, and it's instantly going to kick off. But
oh yeah, well that all comes down to you got to have work ethic too. So, and that's something, obviously someone like you that is getting into this sort of situation where you're working for a business, even though it's, family owned and you're working for family per se. You still, like, I don't give you any breaks. I'm very, very adamant about treating you the same as I would treat a total stranger. I have the same expectations. When we step in here, this is work. When we step out of here, we're friends, we're family. Like that's how we all approach this entire organization, and that's how I approach everything. So I think you being in this situation, you get a little bit more of a competitive advantage in that, but I think it's interesting to see people, the youth's approach towards work nowadays, because it's going to be crazy, man. We're witnessing AI take over,
No, and Audie brought up a good point. I think a lot of kids nowadays, they think things are just going to pop off instantly, and that's not the case. I mean, I'm a huge supporter of school. I tried to go to college. College wasn't for me, as a nursing major. But if you're not going to choose a trade, or you're not going to get a degree in something like law or being an engineer, you have to show an immense amount of work ethic and an entrepreneurial spirit to just grind. I mean, like, speaking for myself, building a 6-figure career in Los Angeles and New York as a working creative, I busted my ass. But that was basically because I only had myself to keep me accountable.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people nowadays, like, they lack that self-accountability. But Audie, what inspired you to want to continue on this path to be an electrical engineer? Because I have 2 cousins. One that works for Lockheed, and another that is working for a smaller engineering firm, that are both engineers. One's a mechanical engineer, and the other's an electrical engineer. What's inspiring you to continue on this path of engineering?
To be honest, it's my parents in a way. Like, we never grew up with a ton of money. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've grown up with a comfortable life, but we weren't the most well off.
Yeah, middle class.
Yeah, middle class.
Standard degree. But is it only money that gives it, or is there something like? Do you like building stuff?
Yeah, it's money. Obviously, is a great benefit to it, but it's also because I like being creative and being able to create different things, and I think that would just be a great field to be able to continue doing that. Like, now I build my own things and stuff like that, and I think electrical engineering will fit great.
You can go and electrically engineer some shit on the boat this afternoon. I gotta install a battery charger. You can go electrically engineer that.
Put those skills to use.
Debatable.
Yeah, let me help you build those skills up, dude.
This is your resume right here.
I mean, hey.
No, but that's good. That's really good that you know, because it is like, look, I chose law because I like, you know, I like being in the mud and fighting with people, and it's, to me, law is like a chess game. Like if I do this, you see how people react and move things along. And I know it's the same for you when it comes to creating you know, production and different things. You can see it when you're passionate about something. It means the world. It does a whole litany of like things to what you create. So I mean, it's interesting. So
Yeah, and I think we can both attest to it. You know, doing something that we love. It's the passion, and it's the purpose.
yeah,
Right. Like so those two things, like they work hand in hand, because if you have those two things with any career that you pursue, you're going to be able to build something with it, like over the long term. So
let's talk about you know, Audie now, since he's worked at the law firm. This is the first time I think he has brought a lawsuit to my attention. But you know, being that you're now working in a law firm, do you tend to pay attention more to legal things going on?
Yeah, especially if it's like something to do with like that aligns with me, like gaming and stuff like that. Yeah, I do.
So tell us about this Pokemon lawsuit.
yeah, Palworld and Pokemon, because you were defending
Explain
you were
it
defending
to us.
Palworld. So I want to preface this by saying that he was defending Palworld,
Explain to us.
but it sounds like they might be in the wrong. So tell us.
Talk to
All
us.
right. So, Nintendo. Well, let's start off back in 2024. I don't know exactly when the game came out, but I'm pretty sure it was like early 2024, something like that. This game called Palworld came out. When it came out, the whole premise was there was creatures that
Okay.
that
Creatures.
you have to go around capturing, and they basically become your slave. I'm gonna be honest. They just work for you. That like you make them work and stuff like that.
Okay, but hold on. With those creatures, do they fight other people with creatures?
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
Okay, keep
Okay,
going.
but-
What other work do they do?
Yeah.
You use them. There's like towers that have bosses in them. You go in there. All right. I know it doesn't sound good, okay?
Keep going. Let's just keep going.
All right. You fight them. You get special rewards.
Okay. All right.
But you also get to build a base, which Pokemon, I don't think you get to build a base in Pokemon. I've never played it, so I can't vouch personally, but you get to build like your own base and build up your gears. You level up, you get more gear to catch stronger pals, which that's what the creatures are called, pals. And you basically just develop yourself and build your way up to fighting stronger bosses and stuff like that, stronger creatures.
So basically, you're describing Pokemon because because when you brought this lawsuit up, you were.
So hold on. How do you catch these creatures?
How do you catch them?
You beat them
Oh,
until they have low health,
oh,
and then you throw a ball at them.
oh. So Palworld isn't in the wrong. You know what's crazy is that you think that they're not ripping Pokemon off, and you've never played Pokemon.
Have you played Pokemon?
I haven't, but I watched the show. I watched the show.
So legitimately, as he was describing this, I was just imagining like when I first picked Charmander, and then as I'm traveling, battling to get my first little Pidgey, and then catching it with a Pokeball, and then going to gyms on my Nintendo Game Boy to fight. Dude, you described Pokemon.
You basically described Pokemon. I'm being honest. Like the entire description that you gave was basically Pokemon.
I think though it's a little different. Like, sure, the concepts are the same, but the idea behind it isn't. If you like, at least from what I've experienced, and it's also different because Nintendo, they're trying to sue them into the grave. Like, they're trying to have them shut down their game company completely.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to understand the reason is because obviously, like intellectual property stuff, it's very, very, protected. It's very, very, developed. Pokemon is a multi-billion,
and what's crazy
industry.
is it's even more popular now then
People were getting killed over Pokemon cards when we were kids.
When we were kids, people were getting beat up over.
No,
I gave his
Dead.
so it's insane because I never knew that it would have the longevity that it did. His younger brother Latchman, I was moving away to New York back in like 2009, and I used to collect Pokemon cards heavy. I had a bunch of first edition holos. I had all of like the first 250 Pokemon cards. A perfect condition. I gave the binder to Latch. And then I think a girl in the neighborhood, Victoria,
Someone stole it.
she stole it from him, and
Dude.
I didn't think and Latch felt bad, because he was a kid at the time, and he was really sad about it. And I was like, "Yeah, Latch, don't worry about it, man. They're just Pokemon cards." Fast forward, fucking 15 years, I'm pissed off.
Yo,
Those
kids,
They're expensive.
kids get killed.
They
for
get
that
killed
shit,
over it,
bro.
man.
But I remember there was in middle school, there was, people like there was a kid that stole a Charizard or some shit in New York, and they like literally got killed. I was like, oh, this is some wild shit, bro. But Pokemon battles, real life battles, Palworld battles, or what's the Palworld? Palworld.
So Audie, I want you to add to this, because the reason why Nintendo is going after Palworld, and I don't really know too much about this lawsuit, but it's because there are a lot of similarities between like the two franchises, even though like maybe you as a player, you are experiencing something different. And what it kind of goes into is when you take a franchise like Pokemon, you compare it to franchises like Digimon, or you compare it to franchises like Yu-Gi-Oh! And the reason why Nintendo hasn't gone after those companies is because there is a substantial difference, because all three are about capturing creatures in their own way. All three are about like the creatures evolving. But like there's major differences in the way that each of those franchises kind of play out. Yu-Gi-Oh! Being cards, Pokemon, quote unquote, being like part of like this digital universe. Palworld, from your baseline description, if somebody has never seen it before, it basically sounds like Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. But the thing is, though, about the lawsuit is Nintendo isn't suing them because of the character models or because of the fact that you can capture creatures with a ball. They're suing them over different things. Like, they're suing them over, like, being able to ride a flying creature. Like, I forgot how the patent exactly went, but it's like being able to mount a flying creature and then directly transfer to ground. They're suing them over something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense, because there's a whole bunch of other games like Ark Survival Evolved, per se, where you can go on a flying creature and then transfer to ground. Or like, that's the thing. And they're trying to like pick other things besides the character models and also the actual PAL spheres, the thing that you use to capture the Pokemon or the PALs.
Yeah, well, Nintendo as a company, if you do research, they are I would say, far and away the number one company when it comes to protecting their original IP. They're very, very stringent and vehement in protecting it at any cost. Anybody who's ever pirated and anything Nintendo related, anyone who is using their characters in a way that they don't agree with, even in regards to like maybe Super Smash Brothers tournaments, which I've read about prior, they've shut down a lot of like these major tournaments because they're so protective of the IP itself. So when you have maybe a company like PAL, or a developer who has developed Palworld and they're making millions of dollars off this game, I can see why Nintendo would be going after them.
Next thing I want to jump into, and I think it'll be an interesting perspective, because obviously you and I are pretty seasoned when it comes to our political ideologies, but Audie is also a very young person that now has the ability to vote, and you didn't vote last election, right?
No.
But you're going to be obviously voting next election,
Yeah.
or have the ability to vote. Let's talk about, some of the stuff going on with politics, right? So one of the things that I've been paying attention to, and not pushing in either way, is the fact that there has been a lot of government insight into prior government actions. For instance, I believe I just saw last week, either the DOJ or Congress, they're like subpoenaing the Clintons to come and, talk about, I don't know if it's Epstein or something like that. I know there was a subpoena that went out regarding that. I just read something about the DOJ doing an inquiry into Letitia Jones or James, the attorney that brought the civil suit with the huge $400 million judgment or whatever in New York against Trump. And then there was some other things that came out about during the Clinton. I think it was an ethics probe or something like that about Hillary Clinton. She created from what I saw, it was about Hillary Clinton creating the Russia probe, and to kind of sway attention away from her email probe and all the stuff going on with her. Obviously, it seems like what we're seeing is a government uncover prior government actions, right? But we all know, look, all of this stuff happened to pop out when the
Epstein list
is supposed to come out.
And Trump doesn't want it to come out.
Yeah. And so look, we ultimately history repeats itself. Government's corrupt. That's my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a young person in this new political landscape and seeing everything that you've seen, because you've been exposed to a lot. What are your thoughts with politics? What are your thoughts when it comes to trusting government?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like the government can be trusted, but only to a certain extent. Not with much, but there are things I feel like certain things you can trust them with. But as of lately, it seems more and more it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, does some of the stuff that's coming out, for instance, like I have a huge distrust for the Clintons, right? The way you watch the Monica Lewinsky scandal break out, knowing with certainty that Bill Clinton was on the Epstein Island multiple times. And you couple the sexual, his history of sexual assaults, violences, stuff like that, alongside the Jeffrey Epstein Island thing, that's 1 + 1 to me. Shit equals 2, baby.
I feel like with Trump too, man. Trump.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to is ultimately, we have our political biases. We ultimately know, this is how I feel about certain things. Seeing that, the Clintons and some of the Trump's exposing some of these people, how does that, what are some things that you, I guess, are judging your political bias and view on towards the government?
I don't know. It's hard. Like, with everything coming out, I feel like at this point, no politician could be trusted, kind of thing. Like, next election, we'll see who runs, but it's going to be, I feel like, tough to probably pick someone no matter what. Especially now with all these files coming out and stuff, and then now Trump trying to hide them in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, did we really? I feel like there was no better choice than to vote Trump in. But seeing this now, it's like, oh, now still we lost in a way.
Well, it's one of those other things, right? I thought about it this way. It was like, well, Trump's openly said he's never gone to the island, right? I think there's photos of him being with Epstein and knowing Epstein, but he said he's never gone to the island, right? So the other thing is, what if Trump's a troll, and I'm not saying I believe this is what happened, but me and my wife were talking about it, and we were saying, well, what if, and this is just a conspiracy theory I pitched up, what if Trump intentionally blocked the Epstein list from coming out to then get the Democrats to push for it to come out, and then somehow someday it gets released and turns out it just harms the Democrats and helps him per se? How does that make, I thought about it, but I mean, ultimately I think it's a conspiracy theory.
Well, look, I think if you're being pragmatic, he ran on he ran on the campaign promise of being more transparent.
Yeah.
And, whether it was 2016, 2020, 2024, all he talked about was draining the swamp. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, all of these people that have come forward in his administration prior to the election all talked about releasing the Epstein list, releasing the Epstein files. Donald Trump, and look, I'm not saying, and I don't want to throw out accusations, I'm not saying that the guy's outright guilty, but he's had multiple interviews throughout the 90s and early 2000s, like literally verbatim saying that I'm very good friends with Epstein. Epstein is a terrific guy. We like the same type of women. We like them young.
Really?
That is an actual quote from Donald Trump.
I've never heard that.
Right? So I'm gonna put it up on screen. He's literally said that we like the same type of women. We like them young. Okay? And then this letter comes out.
That's verified too.
It's
Holy
verified.
shit.
This is verified shit. This is stuff that he's literally said. I'm gonna put it on screen for people to see. He wrote a letter for Epstein's birthday bash, and he said, "Oh, I never wrote that letter. I don't even draw." Right? He ran big foundation fundraisers in New York City, throughout the decades, and one of the things that he always put up were drawings that he did. And those drawings, right? Those drawings look exactly like the letter that he wrote to Epstein that he is now denying. So again, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is guilty of pedophilia, right? But what I'm saying is that if you do not think that you are guilty at all, why are you not releasing the list, right? If you don't have anything to hide, because
That's
now
crazy,
you're looking it up now,
Yeah,
right?
that's
I look,
crazy.
and listen,
I mean, it's on CNN.
that's a verified source. Like like if you go back to newspapers back in the day and
But
videos.
Here's the biggest problem, man. So I'm not saying if I'm not trying to defend him at all, but it's one of those things where, and I think this kind of mimics how what Audie said with distrust. Who the do we trust anymore? Because look, I personally don't trust news sources that have a bias. Like, I'd much rather read something from the most neutral source. Like, give it to me exactly how it is. Let me make my determination. And I used to watch CNN a long time ago, but there came a point where we can all admit they became very, very left leaning. They were a toy.
But and I agree.
So it's like it's so crazy.
I agree with you, and all I want to say is that look, CNN, CNBC, we know that they're left leaning networks. But Fox News, we also know that they're
100%.
right leaning. Like, I think, like, as a voter and as a citizen of the U.S., you have to consume the news from all sources. So just like how I call out Chuck Schumer, I call out Nancy Pelosi, I call out anybody that I disagree with in regards to policies that they have in them enriching themselves.
Yeah.
As a citizen, even though I know I lean conservative, I have no trouble calling out. I have no trouble calling out the corruption when I see somebody like Trump, or I see another conservative politician also capitalizing on their power.
Well, I think you take away their political party. There's just bare bones things that you shouldn't do. Like, we shouldn't kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's legitimately like something that should not happen.
And listen, Bill Clinton, absolutely guilty of like going to the island.
I have a personal thing against the Clintons.
And look,
I just hate the Clintons.
And look, I dislike the Clintons too. But you know what I'll say is that Clinton is not, as much as I dislike Clinton is not on record calling Jeffrey Epstein a terrific guy.
He was hanging out with him at his island.
But as many photos as there are of Clinton and Epstein hanging out, there's just as many photos of Trump and Epstein hanging out. So
I mean, listen, right now, just because it satisfies my hate for the Clintons, I'm just going to say that guy, he was kids most likely. And listen, I want to see, if I could see anything in the world, right? If I could see anything in the world, it would be to see Bill Clinton sit in a deposition and get grilled by the DOJ, Trump's DOJ. You want to know why? Not because it's a Democrat Republican thing. That family is so corrupt, and it's like as someone that studied politics from that time when they were running the country, the first president I remember as a kid was Bill Clinton. So it's like, I don't know if that's what it is. I feel like I was just lied to my whole life, like from a political sphere. So it's really tainted, and to a certain extent, it's really kind of opened my eyes towards government, where you can live through this president that you think is amazing and the best person in the world, and he's really a piece of shit. And that goes for every single president, because I think W. Bush, like, hilarious guy. I love the videos about the dumb shit W did, but he was probably a idiot, Same thing with Obama. I personally voted for Obama the first term, but as you see these politicians develop through their career and Washington gets a hold of them, they turn into these shitty people that all they do is the American people over. And that's the problem, bro. I personally think, because Clinton was the first president that I was exposed to as a child, I have a this degree thing, or this award from President Clinton, that I was like, man, that guy, Bill Clinton.
Well, like I said, I think everybody is going to have their political biases. When you speak to somebody that's entrenched on either side, whether that's the left or the right, people are going to dig in. So I understand that, look, if you already have biases against, the Clintons, or, you have issues with Obama, or, you're on the left and you have issues with Trump, you have issues with Bush, you're going to be entrenched on that side. For me, I just want accountability on all sides. I 100% want the Clintons to be accountable, because I'm not a fan of the Clintons either.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if they're going to be held accountable, it should.
Everyone needs to be held accountable.
It should be everybody across the board. It shouldn't be Trump now sending the DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA to go through the multitude of different files to erase his name from him. And now Ghislaine Maxwell, who was at a maximum security prison, is now at a minimum security prison. Have you read about that?
Yeah.
Exactly. So the fact that
if you ask me, I think it's the Clintons.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You have your main guy have a private interview with her, right? And all of a sudden she goes from being a maximum security, at a maximum security prison where she should be suffering for her crimes against many young girls, and now she's at a minimum security prison that's known as a luxury camp, for people. And the director of that prison literally said, this is the first time that anybody has come to this prison that was accused of a sexual crime.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So come on, man. There's just so much corruption, and it's like I said, Trump's a piece of shit for supporting it. It's look,
Yeah.
if you're in the files, and you got nothing to hide, just release the fucking files.
Even if you have something to hide, I feel like it's better to just come out with it.
Listen, if you can say grab him by the and you can be married to how many ever people he's not, listen, if it wouldn't surprise me that Trump went to Epstein's Island. You know what I'm saying? I knew what I was getting when we voted in last November, right? I knew Trump was a real estate mogul. I knew he was a billionaire. I knew he filed bankruptcy. I knew he played. I knew. You know what I'm saying? And that's partially why I was like, well, I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the way a lot of America, I swear to God, if he were to have just released the files and it shows he was on there, people probably would have been like, "Oh my God, you were on Epstein's Island. How come you didn't fucking use?" Dude, people would have probably been like, "Yeah, we kind of knew, you know."
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's the fact that you hide it. That's what makes me suspicious.
Yeah.
It makes me way more suspicious.
And Audie put it perfectly. Like, even if you're in it, you can at least defend yourself, right? Like when the statement of like grab him by the pussy came out, right?
Yeah.
He was able to defend himself from it, right? He was able to at least say something. He was able to respond to it with it being out there, and we as voters, or the voters themselves, still voted for him because they knew it is the reason why it's such a contentious topic on the right and the left. And it's the first topic that I've seen, as an adult, that has united them, right? People that are conservative and on the left, is because no one approves of child abuse. Right.
Well,
and child abuse is atrocious. So it's like the reason why you have so many people in the MAGA movement that are now rising up against him is because it's just like, what are you trying to hide?
Well, this is the beautiful thing about, I think, the current world we live in, right? And what gets me excited about the future for, with youth involved, like Audie and people that are growing up now, is we now have the ability for free thought.
Yeah.
We now have the ability to spew our opinion and have it consumed by like-minded people. And I think that's the best part about it, is a lot of the fucking world, a lot of us are normal. A lot of us, all we want to do is live our lives, pay fair taxes, not have someone tell us how to live our life every day and be overbearing and control every aspect of what we do. We just want to live in a safe world that we can raise a family, go to work, enjoy our life, and move on.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what's gonna happen now is we're starting to see the old world, the political connections and all the corruptions for the past 100 years, where you have all these politicians that have been in office for 30, 40, 50 years. All their shit's about to come out, and we're about to see it all laid out. And you know what's the best part about it is now it's all out there like we can put it on the internet. We can copy and paste a bunch of shit into ChatGPT and literally prompt ChatGPT and be like, "Yo, is this guy corrupt?" And 9 times out of 10, it'll say, "Yes, that motherfucker's corrupt." You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the beauty of it, is like, I'm hoping that the world is going to change. And with all this, they're fighting amongst each other, man. Like, it's kind of like the American people just got to sit down and grab a bucket of popcorn and watch this play out, because it's a bunch of idiots, just a bunch of corrupt idiots going at one another. That's one of the reasons I never want to be in politics, because number one, like it's too much bullshit. It's too much bullshit.
Well, we'll wrap it up, because I agree with Mike on that. But we'll wrap it up with you, Audie, in regards to politics. Like, you as now a first-time voter, because the United States, even as a first world country and a country that was built on democracy and democratic ideals, we have some of the lowest voter turnout of any country, that holds general elections, period. I think it's only about like 50% of anybody who's registered to vote usually comes out to vote. So you now being a new voter, what are you looking forward, to in a candidate that is potentially trying to get your vote?
I mean, like Mike said, I just want someone that can give fair taxes and just, I don't know, but like potentially stop from things becoming so expensive. Like, it's easier said than done, obviously, but
Yeah.
I just think it's outrageous how things just keep increasing in prices, and it's hard for people to keep up. Like, people that used to be mid-class go down to lower class because of this and stuff, and it's hard to keep up. So I just want to see something like change with that.
Yeah.
And that's an 18-year-old kid saying that.
Yeah. Well, I also, like, when we were buying the new house, I was making fun of him. I was like, "Yeah, I'm buying this house at a really good price right now, but you're never going to be able to afford to buy a house with the way the economy's going."
Yeah.
But it's the truth, it's the truth.
It's scary.
It's sad. And I jokingly say that to him, and ultimately, I think he's going to be successful. He will be able to buy a house. But the fact of the matter is, I know by the time he's able to buy a house and he's ready past college and all that shit, I will have already had I had an advantage over him because I would have probably gotten it at a better price in an interest rate that's lower than he's going to pay. And that's what's sad, because you have young, hardworking people that want to, make it in this country. And I think I looked at a diagram, a chart where it said, the number of people in their 30s that are married and homeowners is at an all-time low in the world or in the country. That's sad.
Yeah.
So, well, look, this has been a great episode. I'm glad we could have Audie come on and share his youth with us elderly people. And it's been a great time having you work with us for the summer, and I'm excited to keep you along for the ride. And if you don't get the shit I need to get done, I'll fire you. I just want you to know that.
You've made that very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes it clear to you,
Almost every day.
Our podcasting producer Truman, who's putting something up right now.
I've never even said I'd fire Tremont.
I don't know if I've ever heard that.
I mean, I would, but
He's definitely threatened to fire me a couple times though. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even do anything.
I'll hire you back, but I'll fire you.
Mike is comfortable with the people that he works with when he's like, listen, if you don't get this done, I'm gonna fire you.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah. He's not scared to whip it out.
He's
Let's
not
just say
scared to
that.
whip it out.
Let's just say that.
He's not scared to
Jesus
whip it out.
Christ.
But, again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Only Lawsuits podcast. We're going to try to be more consistent, recording them every week. We're going to try. We've been so busy. But if you like what you see, please subscribe. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And until next time.